everybody, Tammy Klinger, also known as Artie Tambarambaa, here again today. Thanks so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today, and I'm making another bright and funky page with that gorgeous little flamingo. And of course I'm using All Things Art by Marlene, so we'll go through them. It's the perfect size journal. I've got my brushes and my artist sponges, which I always have on hand. And then I've got the a couple of the masks there. I think I end up only using the one, but I grabbed them just in case. Then I've got the new Signature Collection paper elements and this brand new stamp, which is so awesome. Love it, love it. And the little sticky quotes, the glue, and some paints. I basically got those paints I knew I wanted to use the flamingo, so I drew the colours from that. And I also did a page recently that a lot of you loved and wanted a video, so I got the colours from that as well. So it was the one with a butterfly, so that's where the inspiration came from. So I've grabbed a sheet of paper out of my the journal, and then just quickly, and using my fingers, I'm swiping some colours onto my page. Now in this instance I am being quite particular about where I put the colours, so I've put yellow, which is happy, down first, and then I like to put the blue, which is Mermaid, next to that, because when the yellow and the blue mix, it makes a really gorgeous limey green that you can see in there. And then I've come along with the Ballet and which is the pink, and I kind of put that near as the blue, because when the pink and blue mix, you get a really nice purple as well. And I just love how that sort of magic happens. And then I filled in the gaps basically with the orange, which is the hot curry. Okay, now I am filming this later in the afternoon because I've just had so much on lately that it was the only chance I could do a video. So I'm sorry about the light that's coming through. But what I've did with just a bit of the pink was I added a few mark makings with a flat brush. And then this is a little trick that I use all the time. And I've just got a little bit of the punk paint, which is the fluoro purple. And I'm just popping a little bit with my finger over where the pink and the blue meet, and it just gives a real pop of colour in those spots, and I really like how that looks. And if you bring the paint down a little bit onto the pink and onto the blue individually, it looks great on those anyway. But yeah, something I often do. Okay, so now I'm coming in with the stencil. So I'm using the flower tile stencil, which this stencil, oh my god, if you have to get a new stencil, get this one, because I'm just can't stop using it. I love it. I love that it's geometrics, but it's got some rounded shapes in it as well. Anyway, first of all I came in with some pink and just whacked it straight over some of the other colours, not the pink that's already in the background, but on some of the other colours, and then very quickly wiped it off using a wet baby wipe. And I just did that in a couple of spots, and then I continued that by using blue paint on top of the pink paint and trying to match it so that it all looks a bit like an ombre effect on the stencil. And I just did it in a couple of spots. Don't do it all over because I have more plans for the background. Okay, so now we're on to the stamping. So as soon as I saw this stamp set, which I just love, I just knew, it just reminded me of like graffiti. It's got some gorgeous words, and it's got script, and it's got sort of graph, and there's lots and lots of bits in there, but I should have put it over so you could actually see the stamp. Sorry about that. But I really liked immediately that it reminded me of my recent trip to Melbourne that I went on. And for those of you who aren't Australian, Melbourne is famous. One of the things it's famous for is its gorgeous art, graffiti walls all around the place. And so this stamp reminded me of that straight away. So that was sort of my jumping off point to trying to make a little graffiti page, but doing it Tam style with lots of bright colours and pretty. Okay, so what I'm doing, I guess, is I'm stamping in, I tend to work in 3s and 5s, but I actually end up using 4 in this instance. But I want it to, some of the stamping, it has to come off the page. It can't just look like it's plonked in the middle of the page. So I sort of go in little corners and I stamp all on top of each other. So I used quite a few of the stamps and stamped right next to each other and built up that layer. And I added the words, I think it's sweet, cute, adorable, and that's one whole stamp. And just adding them, because they are on different angles, it really looks graffiti-like. So just cluster them is my trick. Okay, so now I then came in with black, and I think, you know, being graffiti, it needs quite a bit of black. And the thing about going with black is you've got to be bold. If you're going to use black, I know they say less is more, but sometimes a bit more is more for that real grungy look. So what I did is I came in with black. You've got to work quickly because Marlene's paints do dry really quickly. So I've come in with black, and I'm just kind of going around the edges. I want to leave a little space for my flamingo there. So I kind of do a couple of the edges, a couple of the corners, and I again try and match it up with the pink and blue that's already there. So I do it with the black and quickly pull it off using a wet baby wipe, and it looks amazing. So I also put some black around the edge with my finger, and then I always, when I'm using black and going for a grungy look, I come in with just a bit of paint on my finger, just add a couple of little rubbings here and there, just so it's not, because the thing about using black and grunge is you don't want it to look perfect. You want it to look like you've purposely made it look messy. So that's what I did. Okay, then I've come in with a finer brush and just added a few more mark makings as well. And then just using some orange, I think I used for that. And then I've popped my flamingo down using the glue, and then just using a water-soluble Stabilo oil pencil, I have gone around the edge of my flamingo. That covers up the little bits of white. I do trim some off, but if a little bit's showing, that black pencil gets rid of it. And it also gives a little shadow and makes the flamingo look like they're sitting up off of that very bold background. Then I grounded the flamingo by just popping a little bit of ground with black paint. And then I've put a quote, and I'll just find the quote because I noticed the flamingo is looking down, and I love, love, love her black and white striped stockings. So I went with, if you ever see me looking down, it's because I'm admiring my cool shoes. Love that quote. So I popped that on and popped some scribbly lines around it. And then I simply covered up my flamingo and added some white splats. I actually used a paint pen for that, but you could use paint as well. So I'll leave you with some close-ups. I really love the grungy look of that, and the way, you know, it's brought bold colour into grunge, which is one of my favourite things to do. So thanks for stopping by. As always, I really love hearing from you, knowing who stopped by, and so make sure you pop in, say hi, and yeah, I hope this has inspired you to get creative. Thanks for joining me. Bye.